So this is a recipe that I made. It's actually for cinnamon muffins, but I decided to add in pumpkin to it. The recipe I'll put in the description below, but I did a half batch, which was 1/3 of a stick of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1.5 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder. I didn't really have tablespoons here, and so I was kind of like, I think this looks about right. Yeah, okay. Then I put in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Again, didn't have a teaspoon, so I just kind of like shook a little bit in there. 1/4 cup of milk. I have soy milk, so that's what I used. I used soy milk. And the recipe normally calls for 3 eggs, but I only put in 1 instead of putting like a half egg. And then I put about, I think I ended up putting about like a cup of pumpkin. I should have actually put more in, I found out later. Anyway, and then I blended it together. And then I added in some cinnamon, because for whatever reason the recipe didn't actually call for cinnamon, but I thought, you know, if it's gonna be pumpkin spice, they would need cinnamon. And I mixed it together until it was nice and doughy, and actually it tasted pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. And then I used 2 cupcake trays of 6, so I ended up making 12 little cupcake sized muffins. And then I ended up using a little bit of a larger pan as like a bread pan, I guess, for the rest of the dough. While the oven was preheating to 350 degrees, I did the toppings, which was 1/3 stick of butter, 1/4 cup of flour, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and 1/3 cup of pecans, but I ended up using some granola. And I had to actually use a lot more flour because it just wasn't crumbly enough, and then I finally just gave up and like teared it into little pieces until it looked like, you know, muffin toppings that you would get at like a Starbucks with those muffins. And here's what it looked like. I pushed it in a little bit so that way it wouldn't get too, you know, like fall off too easily when it eventually did rise. And then I put it in the oven for, the recipe called for 45, but since I did a half batch, I put it in for only about 35. And they were pretty good. I think they could have been cooked a little more, so 40 might be better, but they looked pretty good and they actually tasted really good. Emily tried them. She said they tasted more cinnamony than pumpkin-y, and I agree. The captain was like nosing me the entire time, so right here he's like right under the table trying to get a muffin, and it was quite entertaining. But I tried them. They are more cinnamony than pumpkin-y. I actually can't really taste any pumpkin, and they're a little more sticky than crumbly like I like them, and they actually stuck to the wrapper. But I mean, if you have any suggestions on what I went wrong, tell me in the comments below.